going to govern, starting the other night when he was dignified, charming, and very focused.
I think it's very sad. I think the standards have been so lowered for Donald Trump that because he manages not to behave like a spoiled child, he needs to be praised.
Have you ever watched someone try to defend something that many people believe is impossible to defend? Because that's exactly what you're about to see. The arguments in this debate continue to spark controversy, and once you hear both sides, you'll understand why people are still divided over them today. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Not too long ago, we covered the question of whether Donald Trump is racist, and that video sparked a lot of discussion. Today, we're looking at another clip that many people may have missed. In this debate, a Nigerian novelist lays out his case, arguing that Donald Trump's comments and actions reveal a pattern that can't simply be dismissed. On the other side, you'll see someone strongly defending Trump, insisting those accusations are unfair and politically motivated. What makes this exchange so fascinating is that both sides are looking at the same events, but reaching completely different conclusions. It's a heated debate that quickly turns into a clash over facts, perception, and accountability. Watch the discussion closely because once it's over, I'll break down the key moments, explain what stood out to me, and share my thoughts on who made the stronger argument.
The first ever black president will be followed by a president who's endorsed by the KKK. Bob, where does that leave you?
Could you pick some? I can't imagine anybody more marginal to American elections than the KKK. I mean, every 4 years, the KKK comes up because people like Hillary Clinton want to bring the KKK up.
So it doesn't shock you, it doesn't horrify you. They're holding a rally in December to celebrate his victory.
Yeah, and so are probably the Knights of Columbus. Now, why don't you talk about the Knights of Columbus? Maybe you don't even know what the Knights of Columbus are.
Another extremist group?
It's the largest Catholic organization of Catholic males in the country. Let me just point out to you, it's inappropriate to talk about the KKK in the same sentence as Donald Trump or any Republican. They're utterly marginal. They wouldn't even exist if it weren't for every 4 years you trot them out.
Jim Manda.
Go ahead. Let me hear what you have to say about that.
You know, I find it really interesting. There seems to be a refusal to accept reality. So she's asked a question about the KKK, and it hasn't been engaged with, and instead we're being told that there's this other group called the Knights of St. Whoever. The point is the KKK exists. The KKK endorsed Donald Trump. The KKK stands for white supremacy, and that has to be acknowledged. That has to be pushed back on.
Is there nothing on the campaign trail that he said about race that hit you?
Yeah.
Did you worry about any of it?
No. In fact, you people keep magnifying it. The left in America and the left in Great Britain keeps magnifying it. But he talked about a lot of other things, and those things should get through.
And that is possible.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
If you have a fifth of Latinos or Hispanics voting for Trump all the same, maybe race wasn't an issue, even to the people he talked of.
I find that argument to be very troubling. The idea somehow that if Hispanic or even any people of color vote for somebody who's racist, it means he's not racist. I mean, every system of oppression has people who are in the group of the oppressed who somehow contribute to that oppression. So it doesn't even, it's not even a valid argument to make that because Hispanics voted for him, therefore. I think what we should do is look at Trump for who Trump has told us and shown us that he is. So let's look at what he said on the campaign trail. That's really what, because the only way we can judge the kind of president he will be is based on the campaign that he ran.
But maybe he didn't believe anything that he said, and maybe that's how you win a
But then that's
a
the
primary.
problem, because on the one hand, we're told that Trump's appeal is that he says what he thinks and he says it like it is and that sort of thing.
Oh, but
and then on the other hand, we're told that somehow he doesn't really mean it. So which is it? There's something very troubling about that.
No, I'd say something
Republicans,
entirely
even Paul
different.
Ryan, have accepted that Trump has been racist in his language. You don't.
That's not true. He hasn't been racist.
Textbook racism is the phrase he used.
Let me tell you, because of the was going to say this is
if you're
because
a
of
white man, you don't get to define what racism is.
Oh, I see. I don't
you really
get to
don't.
define it.
So a man who's been racist, you don't. No, you
consciousness?
don't get to sit there and say that he hasn't been racist when objectively he has.
Do you know
and
what-
it's not about your opinion. They're objective things. Racism is an objective reality, and Donald Trump has inhabited that reality.
Do you know the false consciousness, which is the theory you're talking about, is a Marxist concept? I mean, and I have, in other words, I can't even open my mouth here because I'm a white male.
No, of course you can. I'm just saying to you that Donald Trump has shown us and has said things that are objectively racist.
No, he has
it's not
not.
about my emotion. But how
What
can you
has he
say that?
said?
If he says to us, for example, that a judge, a United States judge, is unable to judge him fairly because he is Mexican, that is racist.
I would-
Objectively
I'm
racist.
sorry,
We're nearly
but
at the end of
looked
our-
at Judge Curiel, and he didn't look any other color than my color.
Well, that's not the
Yeah,
point.
well, it is the
It's
point.
about what your candidate
I'm
said.
going to move this on just for a final thought, which is, will Donald Trump govern in the same way that he campaigned?
No.
And that's a
He's
good
not
thing or a
gonna-
bad thing?
It's a proper thing. He showed you how he's going to govern starting the other night when he was dignified, charming, and very focused.
Chimamanda.
I think it's very sad. I think the standards have been so lowered for Donald Trump that because he manages not to behave like a spoiled child, he needs to be praised.
So, after watching that debate, it's pretty clear why this issue continues to divide so many people. What stood out to me wasn't just the disagreement itself. It was how determined some people were to dismiss or defend comments that others see as part of a much larger pattern. Now, one thing you know about this channel is that we don't just throw opinions around. We try to look at the record, check the facts, and examine the history before reaching a conclusion. That's why it's worth remembering some of the controversies that have surrounded Donald Trump over the years. Back in the 1970s, Trump and his company faced a lawsuit from the U.S. Department of Justice alleging housing discrimination against black renters. The case was settled with a consent decree without an admission of wrongdoing. Years later, Trump became one of the most prominent voices promoting the false birther conspiracy about President Barack Obama. He also continued to defend his stance on the Central Park Five even after their convictions were overturned following exonerating DNA evidence. During his 2016 presidential campaign, several of his statements about Mexican immigrants drew widespread criticism. More recently, remarks such as poisoning the blood of our country also generated significant controversy. Now, whether you believe these examples amount to racism or not is ultimately up to you. My goal isn't to tell you what to think. It's to encourage you to look at the full record, consider the evidence, and then make up your own mind rather than relying solely on political loyalty or party affiliation. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think the people defending Donald Trump in that debate made a convincing case? Or do you believe the evidence tells a different story? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.